South Africa is one of the countries with the highest prevalence for obesity, with the expectation that we will see a rise of about 47.7% in females and 23.3% in males. The conversation today is rooted in this stat. It is to help particularly women understand the impact of holistic well-being. There's also data that shows us that there is a high number of women-led homes in South Africa. So we don't have a choice as women. In order for families to continue to thrive, in order for our children to have a better chance of succeeding holistically, we have to pay attention to our well-being. I'm really excited for you to hear this conversation with Maria Carpenter, who is the head of Momentum Multiply, and Mbali, who is a nutritionist that is extremely passionate about women health. One of the things that you'll hear about is the importance of knowing your data. It is truly understanding what is available in the market for you to understand your data, but also the relationship between nutrition, sleep, and just understanding how to create a life that supports your success. So tune into this conversation, listen with a notepad and a pen, and make sure that even in moments when you feel overwhelmed, you just focus on taking away one thing and walking away to try that out and see how it starts to change your own life. Topic that I am extremely passionate about, which is women's well-being. We're not just talking physical well-being, we're talking mental and holistic as well as financial well-being. Joining me today are two incredible women, Maria Pouroullis Carpenter, who is the head of Momentum Multiply, as well as Mbali Mapholi, who is a renowned dietitian and whose passion is using nutrition as a tool for connection, culture, and change. Ladies, welcome. And I am excited to be having this conversation. I'm going to go straight into it. For each one of you personally, how do you define complete well-being, especially in this fast-paced world of working women? Maria, I'll start with you.
Yeah, thank you. Such a great question. So I've been the head of Multiply for 5 months now, and actually,
Congratulations. Love that.
thank you,
Congratulations.
thank you. And it has been awesome on many levels. And one of my first tasks that I set for myself was to define well-being. So, like, what is true well-being and what is true health? As a true ex-management consultant, it's a bulleted list, very comprehensive, and it comes down to feeling like you live a fulfilled life, and being and living in gratitude for what you have. And I see it as a gift of life. And if I can summarize it in one sentence, being not rushed. That is like my ultimate, that's my goal. To live a life where there's no time shortage. There's just so much time. And that's when I know, so I don't have to rush to get to a doctor's appointment to take care of myself, or rush to yoga, or rush to do this, and rush to finish this project, or perhaps rush to get my hair done before a meeting. And yeah, none of that. It's just living in presence with time. Yeah.
I really love that. And I'm going to go into that a little bit as we continue with the conversation, because I have a whole philosophy around slow living and how it's completely changed my life and how I've also incorporated it in small moments in my own life. Mbali, for you?
For me, sort of complete well-being is when our physical health and our mental health, more than anything, and our spiritual health as well, are in sync. I think particularly as women, in South Africa, it's a country whereby just about 40% of households are women-led. So it's when those women can, it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be extreme, they don't have to be going to gym at 5 a.m. every day, but it's where we feel like, with whatever that I'm doing to support my physical health, whatever that I'm doing to support my mental health, my spiritual well-being, there is that synergy. It can be as minimum for another person as it can be, but I've got that in sync. There is that connection between what I'm eating, movement, and all of those things. So for me, that is what complete well-being is about. It's just when everything is a bit like in its, some days it's 10% sync, some days it's 100%, some days it's 60, but we work on improving every day that for that synergy. Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I think it's so important to really be very realistic with the woman that we're speaking to. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I'm sure as we get into the conversation, we'll start to talk about tips in your own life.
Yeah.
How do you bring this concept of complete well being to life?
Yeah.
I can tell you, as you were speaking, I thought about something I started doing,
Yeah.
and it is slowing down my mornings. And I think mornings are the most challenging. You rush out of bed, you're jumping into one thing after the next. Half of us don't even have breakfast because we're rushing out of our homes.
Yeah.
One of the commitments I've made to myself is that I want my mornings to be slow. And it means they have to start early, but it completely transforms my day to just be slow and intentional with my mornings and get into the rhythm of the day quite early.
Yeah.
Maria, Momentum Multiply is built around the concept of complete well being and making sure that you're helping the consumers achieve that. How is this reflected in the company's programming approach?
So programming of the app or the actual product, or programming
Programming holistically, the culture, how it filters through to the app, and how it filters through to just the approach in terms of how you even engage with each other in the organization.
So at Multiply, we've got 3 mantras that we live by. So we want to build products that our members love. We want to ensure that the company thrives. Otherwise, I can come up with some really expensive, amazing feature ideas. And then the last one is that we need to do it with a happy and healthy team. So if we are going to be building products for members, for their well-being, we can't be sick while doing it. And sick is an interesting adjective because we often think that the absence of illness means you're healthy, but it's not true. As we've seen with mental well-being, but also, I'm sure we're going to get to it, as women, there are things that can trouble your body that they don't come out. You can't see them. They're invisible until you're in your 40s and 50s and 60s. And you're like, this happened overnight.
Yeah.
But it's this understanding of well-being consistently. And like one of my favorite taglines is discipline and consistency. So bringing in those habits, so slow morning, and sticking to it.
Yeah.
So it's not like you did it once and said, I've arrived.
Yes.
Tick, mornings are slow. You've got to keep doing it. And so as a business, tight, difficult deadlines, competitive market, working in mobile app development is fast-paced because you think you're winning and then
Something changes.
Facebook and Instagram change things, and then your members, even though Facebook and Instagram has nothing to do with your app, they spend most of their time on those platforms, and they're like, why doesn't your app do this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, no, we're on it. We're working on it. So in that environment, how do you bring well-being into the team? And that's one of my constant focuses is like, how do I? And actually, I've introduced a few interesting is now my favorite new adjective because it's not divisive. We have Monday mornings where we're all together, and one of the practices that I've introduced is trimming, TRE. So something completely quite out there. We've done meditation as well, and there's a few other things that are on the path, and it was all around, I need us to have regulated nervous systems in order to build apps that talk to wellness. In a dysregulated state, we're going to make some pretty bad decisions. So let's be in the best state we can be and then build. And it's hard to do that, but we want to. And that already feels like a step in the right direction.
I remember a long time ago when Oprah still had the show and we were all watching, and she had discovered meditation and she had implemented it in her own organization, and how she saw such a peak in productivity. That's not really the reason why we do it, but at the end of the day, we have to work and we have to be in our best state when we work. And if there's tools that we can bring into organizations for that to happen, I think it's only appropriate that we do that. So I'm excited to meet up with you after a couple of months to see how that practice has shifted. And I learned TM, Transcendental Meditation, a while back. And without a doubt, it has changed the way that I approach difficult situations and the ability to regulate my anxiety as I go into environments that I know could be triggering or really have me spiraling out. So I really love that you're implementing that. I love, and I can't wait to hear how it's really changing the organization. Mbali, we often speak of food as medicine.
Yeah.
food as medicine.
Mm.
When I came across that concept, it really changed the way that I approach what I ingest and what I eat.
Yeah.
How do you see it playing out when it comes to our mental state, our physical health, of course, which you already speak about a lot, but also our emotional state?
Yeah. No, food as medicine, it comes from the point that it provides us with nutrients that we need. And everybody has the different nutritional needs. As women, we tend to have similar nutritional needs at different ages. So when we are low, we've got nutrient deficiencies. And this is something that you would think happens more in the sort of like underdeveloped areas, not the suburban girls and all of that. But because we don't necessarily nourish as we should, we underestimate the nutritional needs that we have. For example, women of childbearing age from around the age of whatever, early 20s to around 35, they've got these high iron needs, like iron as a nutrient need. So when we are eating foods that have enough iron levels that will replenish you if you've got iron deficiency, that supports your physical health, yes, but it also goes into supporting you in a sense that with iron deficiency, it may affect your mental health because all of these symptoms that come, they will worry you. You are living in a state of anxiety and fear. Oh, am I really sick? Is there something wrong with me? And we don't want to go test or check our levels. So when we eat foods with that sort of mentality that this is nourishment, you can take it there and say, this is medicine, it's healing me, but also just in simpler terms to say, this is nourishment. These nutrients are important to me, whether it's iron, it's vitamin D, it's zinc, it's calcium, it's all of those nutrients. They play a very important role in helping us thrive. So this is where we're not eating to be full. And yes, it's all right to eat to be full.
To eat to be full. I am the culprit there.
You know, but if we are saying, I don't have time, I have time just to grab something quickly, then let's think nutrient density then, because you won't have time to sit and have this massive meal. Whatever that then you are grabbing, is it at least providing me with majority of the nutrients to get me thriving for the next 2 to 3 hours? Not survival, but if we are just eating to be full, it's more survival. And as women, I think we cannot afford to. We already, our bodies go through a lot every month, and in terms of our menstrual cycle and different phases that we go through. So if we don't eat enough, we get frustrated, we get hangry, our emotions are all over the place. Yes, it's valid. Most of the time, there are real mental cases and mental issues. But for the most part, in my practice, I just ask, did you have breakfast this morning? And then I say to my client, do you want to go to the cafe with me and let's grab something to eat? Let's consult while we're eating something. And it changes the game completely because the person will say, I didn't have breakfast. I was rushing here for this appointment. I'm like, let's just go have breakfast. So those are the things that unfortunately tend to apply mostly to women. And they come from, and it's not just in our brain, it's biology. We've got different nutritional needs. So yeah.
Can I add something to this?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I love. So we've got 5 pillars at Multiply,
Yeah.
and the first one is eat. And we've had debates and at work and socially. I'm like, eat's the most important. It's the most important. In fact, bodybuilders say that their bodies are made in a kitchen, which took me a while to understand.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And then you also get the saying, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food.
Yeah.
And my husband and I, we try loads of different things in the kitchen. And
You expanded on where you tried
Yes.
to
for this
Maria,
conversation,
thank you.
we'll limit it to the kitchen.
Thank you.
And he had an autoimmune disease, and he cured himself with different practices. So that's why I've tried many things. And food was actually his portal, along with many other modalities. But food was so important. And so for 5 years we were mostly vegan.
Okay.
And by the end of it, the last 2 years, I was proper sick, and I didn't know. And I remember lying in bed and going, so this is aging. Where you're just lying here and I can't get up. And then I'm going to just make it and go and shower and just see what happens. But this is the rest of my life. And again, I'm in my 40s, if you're wondering. Let's just leave it at that. What side of the 45? I'll let you guess.
Doesn't matter. No one cares.
And life
No one
begins at
cares.
40s.
Absolutely.
By the way, okay. So then a whole lot of different things happened, and one of them being I'd made a commitment to somebody that I was going to eat meat as a celebration. And after that, we had meat on the Saturday, and on the Monday I went into a meeting, and I was sitting in the meeting, And I felt my brain do something, and I promise you, it's like I can't. I don't have the words to articulate what happened, but I could feel the actual connections happening in the meeting, and I thought, oh my God, I've had brain fog for 2 years. And then it was actually this iron deficiency. And then actually when I joined Multiply, we have to do health assessments. And previously I thought these incentivized wellness programs, they would force you to do assessments because of blah, blah, blah. It's insurance mechanisms, but actually it's around knowing your health. Know your health so that you can take action and then actually know where you are right now and your future trajectory and then improve your health span. So then I found out actually it impacts your blood pressure. It impacts everything. Meat. And I appreciate all the different diets. But right now I'm happy to say that I eat meat once a week.
Okay.
That's not changing.
I thought you were going to say you're not thinking about diets now. Like, oh,
no, so what happened was it went from once a week. So I said to my husband, oh my gosh, I found the secret to a good life, and it's red meat. And then we had red meat once a week, then I increased it to twice, then 3, and at that stage he went, I'm out, you've gone too far. And I said, I think a woman's body is different, and it actually is. I needed it. I wanted more and more and more, and it was fascinating to not have the words or the science to back it up, but just a feeling. And that's a lot of my work now is around health ownership. I had a feeling that this was good for me. And then I was like, well, what's actually going on? And then going down a path and then taking true health ownership. Okay, Maria, you got to take responsibility. You can't just do whatever your husband's doing because it's easy, or this is easy for the kids. And it's such a mission cooking twice. You've got to cook 2 different meals. And so I accept. I accept the hardships of being so privileged that you get to have 2 different versions of supper on the table.
Absolutely.
But it means that I'm in a better state.
Absolutely. I love that you shared that, because even as you were speaking, I was thinking about just this concept of understanding yourself. And I think it's such an important one to bring to the forefront, because of course there are many different diets and there are many different ways that people approach achieving their goal when it comes to their own health. How do you, Mbali, in your practice navigate people coming in and having all these different approaches and not having people feel like, well, I've been doing something wrong for this many years, and just having maybe even guilt or even just anger around, I took this path and it didn't work for me? Because I'm sure for a lot of people watching, they are on some kind of diet at the moment, and they are also wondering, am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? And for some, they're actually convinced that they're doing the right thing. How do you think we should all be approaching everything that's been thrown in us around what is wrong and what is right?
I think the first thing, to Maria's point, is knowing your numbers. So if we do, and it's sometimes scary. I mean, you don't know what's going to be said. Are you going to be, do you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, low iron, all of those things. But if you just at least twice a year commit into, obviously then, depending on your medical aid, they might say maybe every 3 months or so. But anyway, I'm just saying as a basic baseline, at least twice a year. I think knowing your numbers is a form of self-love for women, because then once you know that, oh, my thyroid is low, you'll be able to consult with the right person or like a right healthcare professional to help you. So how I approach it in my practice is no judgment at all. I think also it comes with experience in working as a dietitian, but also we are taught in school of how to handle different people in different ways on diets and all of that. So there's no judgment, but I always say, now that we are here, let's do a full blood analysis. Let's look into your nutrient levels. Let's look into your all of those numbers, and then be able to not, yes, the feeling is fantastic, but now if you see it on paper, then you'll be like, I wasn't crazy. There was something wrong with me. Then it gives that sort of like stamp. And then from there, I usually, and I think my approach is also just looking into nutrition that is attainable, that is simple, that is relevant to our way of life and way of living. So from there, I'm able to say, okay, based on the science and your numbers, if you've got high blood pressure, these are the ways nutritionally we can improve your blood pressure. As to then you, throwing toys, I'm on this diet, I'm that, but looking into that diet specifically, it won't help for you to improve this marker. So to your point of low iron, being vegan for, you said 5 years, and I think you can be vegan and still maintain your good iron levels, but this is where supplementation comes in. This is where working closely with the dietitian helps, because we're able to say, okay, you don't eat meat for whatever reason, how can then we improve your current diet? There are people who come and they say, I eat like our ancestors used to eat. I'm a carnivore. I hunting and all of that. I still have to be able to, with grace and love, but at the same time firmness in a way, and say, okay, that is increasing your lipogram, your cholesterol and stuff. Where can you meet me? You can still eat your meat, but can we increase the veggies so that we are able to get the dietary fiber? So those are the ways I'm when I'm working with women. And obviously social media and trends, there's a lot of noise.
There's a lot of
whether
noise.
It's insulin resistance, pre-diabetes, PCOS. And when I always say, okay, we've heard what we've heard online, but now let's look at you as an individual. I love working with women because I think once we are through that trust barrier, then they are always willing to listen and be able to walk the journey with me. Others, it's even to a point where just a simple thing as periods, whereby somebody will say, I go months without having my periods. And I say to them, let's look at your diet. If we can do some adjustments into your diet, we can improve your periods and the intensity, the period pains, just do period syncing. And then months later, a person will be like, oh, my periods have corrected. And some will be struggling with fertility. And then I have got pictures of beautiful babies that, I'm pregnant, and 9 months later. So we have to look at food like that, that it can help us. It can help us as women, again, back to my point, thrive and fix these problems that sometimes we have.
I'm loving the direction of this conversation because it is pulling into the personal, right? Pulling into the person and not really overarching around what are the solutions around complete well-being. This is a very personal journey in all the facets that you explore, whether that's mental, emotional, or even physical. And I love that you are bringing in the data and understanding what the numbers look like for you. Maria, at Momentum Multiply, how are you leveraging data and tools to help women better understand how they can improve their own health? Do you even have tools that women can use to better understand their markers and the numbers that will help them then understand what is happening with their bodies, mentally, physically, and emotionally?
We've got some great tools in managing both men and women's health. So when you join Multiply, we do ask you to know your health, and what we've tried to do is make it very accessible. So we have digital screening available. But part of your policy, whether it's scheme or insurance, you do get a visit to a pharmacy where you get a wet test. So wet tests, it's your cholesterol and your sugar levels. So you can't do that digitally. I mean, the digital technology, when I first got there, I'm like, I don't believe this is true. They're like, this is your product now. I'm like, fine, prove it to me. So you look into your phone and then you do this 90-second scan, and it gives you your blood pressure, your heart rate, and your HRV, which is your heart rate variability score. These are fascinating metrics.
This is just off the phone.
This is off the phone. Yeah, this is within the Multiply app. The technology has been around for a few years. So these three metrics are actually quite advanced. There's an enormous technology work and innovation happening around the globe. We do offer this on the phone, but it does not pick up your cholesterol. Cholesterol has to be done with a blood test. So we do encourage, go and get your tests done. And it's not the blood works that Mbali was mentioning. This is just focused on your metabolic, your sugar. So you have to do a fasting test, and then what's happening with your cholesterol. And then from there, you do get access to some content to help you. But the big drive from Multiply is health ownership. So I want you to take responsibility for your health. Look at these markers, and now what does this mean for you? Is everything great? We've got scores. So, and there's 5 scores. It goes from red all the way to green, healthy heart scores. And then there's metrics and then information associated with each one of those scores. But this is an invitation for you to, okay, what are you going to do about it? And and then the thinking is that we motivate you to move along the tiering. So every time your tiering improves, you get additional rewards. That's the incentivized wellness part. But through being part of Multiply. So what Multiply is building is this understanding of health ownership, and then to give you the support, because being healthy is so lonely. It can be so lonely. You know, when I started, when we went through vegan.
You know what the thing is, though? It's like the habits that you have to adapt that other people are maybe not
Your
ready.
family is not that keen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now people, in the beginning, people would say, We invited Maria and Steve. Hi guys, what are you eating now?
What are you eating now?
What are you
I
eating
love
now?
that.
Can we
I love
make you a
that.
plate of chips? Yes, thank you. That's amazing. And then the best is when people phone and say, "Does rice have gluten?" No, no, rice is good. Rice is fine. And then we stopped alcohol, and it became quite like a our community at the time.
Changes your entire lifestyle.
They're like, "What are we going to do with you? What would you like to drink? Sparkling water? You can add lemon." But it must be freshly squeezed. We're very careful with what we consume. Okay. And that's lonely because people are kind of finding it difficult to relate to you.
Absolutely.
And what we're doing with Multiply is we want you to feel, no matter what path you're on, whether so across these 5 pillars, whether you're focusing on eat, move, sleep, breathe, or connect, we want you to feel like, don't worry, you're not crazy. It's going to be okay. And there are other people, and maybe we are all crazy together.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to all be crazy together. We've got a Facebook group that people come on, and anybody who's on Multiply, whatever, because we've got different programs, anybody that's on Multiply, it's a free private group and they can hang out. And it's so important because as lonely as it is, it's easy to fall off. Actually, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I want to just be normal. I want to go back to the way things were, and you forget why you started. Wait, I started because I wasn't happy. Oh. Okay, fine. Because now we're on Facebook or somebody's, we don't have to be Facebook, we do WhatsApp groups as well. And somebody's like, I did this today. I'm like, oh, show off. But thank you.
But
that's the motivation's back.
Yeah,
That's why we're in this together. Yeah.
So, I love that. I love the community aspects of it because really going into a health journey, like you said, can be lonely, especially if you're doing it on your own and you're experimenting and you're trying to figure things out. And everyone has their own opinion into what is happening, when and how. I remember reading the Steve Jobs book and reading that at some point he was eating apples only, for months. He was eating apples only, which is interesting. I think everyone is just trying to figure out what works for them. And I love that, when you go into platforms like this, you can find community which can offer you grace at whichever part of your journey, whichever part of the journey you're on. Mbali, can you share, I love stories. Can you share a story where you saw a life-changing decision being made with the client and a client getting on a journey that transforms them that was influenced by getting access to the numbers? Because I really love this. I mean, it's so interesting because you can be so intelligent but not have access to information, right?
Yes.
And I really love this idea of encouraging people to actually take the first steps, which is just getting a good sense of where you are today and the right information around what that means. Is there a story where a client came in, they didn't know their numbers, you got the numbers, and you make significant and a life-changing decision for that particular client?
That client was me.
Oh,
Wow. So 3 years ago, I was on a road trip with my friend, and we were just traveling around the East Coast. And then one of the nights, I just tried to walk down the stairs to go to the bathroom, and I couldn't. My feet and my knees were locking, and I was like, what did we drink a night before or whatever? And I felt like something is not right. So I went and did I had done my full blood maybe 6 months before that point. So I'm like, let me just add uric acid into that because everything else was normal. And then I redone my bloods, and then my uric acid was high, which was indicative of arthritis. And I'm in my early 30s. I'm quite active. I eat well. Obviously, I'm a dietitian, and it was quite a surprise, but that's where genes come in. So then I learned that genetically, I've always had more prone to having high uric acid. Knowing those numbers changed everything for me. Because remember, as I said, I was doing everything that an average person doesn't necessarily do in terms of taking care of your health, because I'm a healthcare professional. But not only that, I practice what I preach. That's why I tend to practice simplified nutrition, culturally sensitive, because it's things that I can do as well. And I started saying, okay, then let me do a 360. Let me just take stock. And I picked up that in my life, I had quite a bit of stress that I was just letting it not really like, it's okay. You become stressed for a couple of days and you're like, it's okay. But it turned out over that period, my own personal stress was sort of flaring up the arthritis or increasing the uric acid. So stress management then became a thing that I was intentional about. And that improved. Like my symptoms, obviously they can, I think they say in a couple of years can have flare-ups and stuff. But that moment of knowing the numbers really opened my eyes into saying, you think you're healthy, you think you're young, you think you're thriving.
And doing all the right
Here
things.
you are smashing gold, Gela, but there is a problem. And so knowing the numbers and taking action, now when it comes to stress, mindful mornings, slow mornings for me are an integral and important part of stress management. Because if I'm going to be running around, I've got kids and shouting, oh, where's your sock? Where's this? And screaming and saying, oh, this. That increases my stress levels. And over time, I just get into this flight or fight type of a mode. And I think that affects arthritis as well. So I've taken very much care about my stress. I don't shout as much. I just go, okay, that is not good what you're doing, but because I don't want things that, I mean, it can be small things, obviously. I don't let my kids do whatever, but still just overall life and relationships and all of that. You need to know, like, I think as women, we support so many people in our lives that sometimes we can neglect ourselves. So that's your story. Yeah. But it really took a 360. I had to be like, okay, you are carrying a lot. I've got all of these people I take care of on a daily basis and my clients as well. And for me to be able to take care of them, I needed to take a step back and take care of myself. And then, yeah. So
well done.
Knowing numbers helped.
Oh my gosh. I need to actually go away and get my numbers sorted as soon as possible. Because I have to tell you, I am one of those women who was not as aware as I am now becoming around the significance of understanding my numbers, especially from a nutritional point of view.
Yep.
Maria, you mentioned something that excited me when you spoke earlier, rewards. How does Momentum Multiply think around your reward system? And I'm asking this particularly from a woman point of view. I think sometimes we think brands just do rewards for the sake of, doing rewards. But I've found that for a lot of women, rewards can be life-changing in terms of how they are structured and how they filter through to other parts of my life. Finances, the way I live, what I approach, but also in building the habits. Because what is happening at the back of me being excited about rewards is actually transformation from a habit point of view. How does Momentum Multiply think through the reward system? You mentioned a tiering and a journey that people get on with the platform and the rewards that are kind of thrown as you navigate those changes.
So rewards are very personal and they're very personal to me too. So we want to build an ecosystem that is exciting for our members, and our members it's from all walks of life in our country. So we've got low all the way to high LSM. And so we have quite a task to find rewards that will talk to everybody that's on the program, but we don't shy away from big challenges. And what our thinking behind the reward system is, so you join, you do the facial scan, and then you get a rewards level, and it's immediate, which is pretty cool. So you will be able to earn rewards as soon as you know your health, and we've got a digital process that you can do it, or you can choose to go and see somebody in person and get your bloods done. Okay, great. Now you've got an assessment, and I will have a green healthy heart score. Possibly. That's level 5. So it starts with level 1 and goes all the way to level 5. Now let's say I get a level 3, which is actually what happened to me when I joined because of the digital scan. And it didn't take my bloods, it just was that facial scan. And I was very surprised but now I'm interested because I have low blood pressure and the scan said I had high blood pressure. And I said, well, this is ridiculous. I want a real machine, not the technology machine, the other kind of the old school. Give me the old school. And then we used old school and it was the same result.
Oh, wow.
Exactly the same. So the tech does actually work. Okay, fine. And with that blood pressure, I then went and had assessments done. Why? Because yes, I am the head of Multiply, but also because I'm on level 3 and I want to be on level 5.
Absolutely.
Because there is a difference in that reward tiering, and that's the point of the tiering. We want you to have motivation to go up. And on level 5, my discounts for my husband and kids when we travel, everything's different.
Yeah.
So you have access to the lifestyle that you are wanting to, and we all love a deal.
Yes, the people right next to me as well.
Right next to me, these guys that are like bigger than me at the moment. My 2 boys are 15 and 13. So I'm like, Mom, is this thanks? Yes.
Yes.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Great. Okay, so rewards really matter. So I'm on a 3 and I'm like, no, I can't do this. Fine. So then we go and do the test, and they said, no, actually, your blood pressure was high. It was because of, it was linked to iron. And it was just like so confusing. And then they said, but now you're on, it was another test, and I actually was a green healthy heart score. And my GP was like, why are you harping on this? You're actually within the normal range. Can you just relax? And I said, no, something's wrong. I've got low blood pressure. And this is, that was the health ownership that came in. But this was all thanks to rewards. That's how it started.
Yes.
Okay, so there is a motivation that happens with wanting to get to 5. But that's not enough. That's once off. So yes, we've got this process in place, and then you want to go up, and you've got to get tests to do that, but that test is a point in time. Now I'm on green. I can now work towards weekly wins. So those weekly wins, that's based on, do I do my active days and do my recharge? So that's part of the tools that we spoke about earlier. So on the app, it tracks my steps. It's linked to my, so you could, your wearable device, if you've got a Garmin or an Apple Watch or a Suunto or Polar, whatever device you've got, it speaks to your phone. And that's, we've got rules about what determines an active day. And then I do a recharge for boosters. So this is getting a bit technical, and I don't want to bore you with the details, but what we're doing for women, and this is actually coming soon, so it's hot off the press. These rewards programs are focused on high intensity fitness. I find it very masculine. We don't work like that as women. Yes, there are women who do, and they love the intensity. So it's the spinning, it's the running, it's the endurance, it's the CrossFit.
Oh my gosh, I'm
What's it? High
obsessed.
rock, the latest vibe.
High rocks.
But there's also women who enjoy yoga, and men.
Oh, I also do Pilates.
And Pilates. And it's not actually that easy depending on the type. Have you ever
Not
done
at all.
forest? So forest yoga is like one of my best ever. And that is, it's intense. And you leave there and you're going to be stiff if you're doing it properly. But you can't get an active day with the current setup. And so what I'm revealing is that we are changing that. So we're now using your heart rate versus not calories, and this is based on our thinking, actually, this is not fair. This demand that you have to be, so you will get your points because it's an active day, you will get it because you're going to be working at 80% of your heart rate. Great, well done. But there's also days that you need to be focused on strength training. And we want you to do that. And you deserve to get an active day because of that. So we're building that into the ecosystem. And that is going to be awesome for women who are training. It's moderate exercise, but they haven't been able to get those active days because they weren't sweating profusely. And you don't need to do that. We want you to move more. So just move, be active, and not just for 20 minutes in the day. We've also got options for steps. It's this consistent moving. That's actually what we're going for. And that's what the science says. It's actually, yes, that intensity is important. Keep going. CrossFit, amazing. Keep going. But also don't just do CrossFit and then sit on a chair for 20 hours. Hopefully you're getting more than 4 hours sleep.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
I'm an
good.
8-hour girl. I will push it as far as I can
Yeah.
push it.
Yeah.
I really love what you're sharing now, and it might be a little bit off topic, but I think this is why it's important to have diversity in teams, so that the right questions can be asked. When I think about Pilates and yogas, that is not easy. It feels almost as high intensity as CrossFit, but just different.
Yeah, it is.
Right? The stillness, the balance, and all the muscles that it works. But because sometimes the right questions aren't asked in the room, you don't get the right answers. So this is really exciting that Momentum Multiply is really interrogating and investigating how do we make sure that we're rewarding people across the board, regardless of what their preference is when it comes to movement and maybe even nutrition. Mbali, do you have another story? You're my story girl now. Do you have another story that truly reflects how powerful incentives can be for women who decide to get on the journey of wellness holistically?
No, incentives are like the fuel that keeps the fire burning. Because I see in my clients, I can just give you an example. There was one client of mine, and she quite busy, does social media as well. So does a lot of videos and all of that. One of the things she'll say is that because the videos that she does don't require her to be out and about. She can't be sitting in her house doing makeup tutorials. I think she does makeup tutorials and can be in that chair for hours on end, editing, doing makeup, doing another video, another campaign. And to a point where I think her partner or her boyfriend or whoever was telling her that, you know how much sort of travel rewards I get or something like that, or money back at the grocery store I get from doing these little things that a rewards incentivizing option had provided him. And then she said, I now want to try that as well and see. It really has changed, and she's quite competitive, so she started competing with her partner in terms of how much rewards are you getting, are you getting this, are you getting that, how much money did you get from buying healthy foods from a grocery store. And I started seeing the shift when she had came for a first consultation a year prior. She just said, I've gained weight post-COVID. I've been working from home. I want to lose weight. So she had the motivation. She had seen one of my videos online, whatever interview I'd done, and she had that, instant motivation. But that didn't last. Immediately, a couple of weeks or days after our consultation, whenever I'll do a check-in with her, she'll either blue tick me 360, because she started now saying, I was doing Pilates and I was doing hiking, and the wearables were tracking whatever that the wearables always obviously heart rates and all of that. And she said, it's amazing. Every month I can now see, actually there are instant rewards that put money back in my account instantly or give me something now.
Yeah.
And that I feel is more what keeps that motivation in momentum, no pun intended,
No pun intended.
keeps it going. She's lost so much weight now because that was her original goal, to lose 10 kilograms or whatever weight. Her skin health has improved. So she's a perfect example of somebody that I saw rewards really changing her way of how she had the motivation. She had paid money and came to see me, but that was not enough. Unfortunately, it needed something else, and that's where rewards came in and motivated her to. She doesn't go anywhere. I remember she did the shoot and she was telling me that they said she must remove her wearable, and she refused. She was like, I'm going to be shooting for 4 hours.
I want these steps.
I want money here.
I want these
money
steps.
here.
And they said it's not aesthetic, and she was like, I don't care. So those are the things that when you see that I am for rewards, I think maybe it comes with being a mom. You just want to be rewarded. Give me something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I go buy my cup of coffee and when I get there and they say, do you want to take your free one today? I'm always like, yes.
Absolutely.
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 Yeah,
so that's the deal. We always want a deal. Yeah.
As we approach the end of this conversation, and we're not at the end.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have a holistic well-being conversation without going into the conversation around sleep.
Yes.
The relationship between working women as the driver of all these environments, working women, the relationship they have with sleep, how it affects nutrition or how nutrition affects sleep.
Yeah.
How have you seen this roll out and really impact how women are approaching their well-being, how it's showing up in their daily lives, how it's impacting their mental health? Maria, whether it's a personal story or what you're seeing as you come into the organization around particularly statistics when it comes to the importance of sleep. I think particularly with working women.
Yeah.
Getting emails at 1 a.m., being up at 6 a.m., and how that starts to drive what we see happening at later stages of life. Just the importance of sleep and its relationship to nutrition and our wellness.
Yeah. Oh, such a lovely question. Sleep does not get enough airtime. And it's a very complicated topic because, so as a woman, I can speaking for myself, easily distracted during the day. And I love deep focus work. And I do some of my best focus work at night when everybody else is sleeping. And so there's a rush of serotonin because I love my work and I love doing it, but at what cost?
Yeah.
And so having a slow morning, I'd love to have that, and that is definitely it's a goal. Having kids changed that for me. So I was always a night owl, even at university, and before having kids, night owl, did my best work, and then I'd wake up with a stretch at 8 o'clock. Oh my goodness, it was like just so great. And maybe even fit in a nap during the day because I knew that I had a good 5-6 hours work waiting for me at night. But then you become a mom and they don't care. They don't care if you've been working. They still have to go to nursery school or go to school. You have to get up. You've got to help them. You've got to be around at that time. And now your sleep is broken. And grumpy moms aren't the best.
No.
And that time with them. So I mean, if I were to give advice to listeners, that time with your little kids, everything goes so quickly.
It does.
It really, everything, your whole life But that particular time when they're little and they're so cute, and this is like, I hope my kids listen to this, even at 13 and 15, those boys, there's still a cuteness to them because they're yours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
And so they will be out the house. And this project that I'm working on will be long forgotten.
Yeah.
That kept me up, and then I was not a very nice person in the morning. And I keep that in mind. And that is very much based on sleep. Then my choices about what I eat are poor. It's almost like when you have a big night out drinking.
Yeah. Oh.
And you think that McDonald's is a good idea. No, it's
makes
never
everything
a
worse.
good
The big night out
idea.
was never a good
The
idea.
big night out was a
That's
big
where
idea.
you made the first bad decision.
Bad
Was
that big
and
night
how it
out.
affects your sleep.
And now you're eating slap chips and you're like, pass me that. Okay. And now you're not going to sleep. And the next day you wake up and you're feeling really terrible. And once again, you're going to consume an oily breakfast or something really bad. And it was all thanks to this lack of sleep that's happening now. And we're not really sure. There's lots of different sciences about how many hours you should get. So some say it's about 7 to 8 hours. Recently, I've heard that it's about 9 hours. You should be in bed 9 hours. And so you're aiming for sleep of 8 of those 9 hours. 9 hours is a long time. It's really, and our lives aren't really set up to have those 9 hours. But what we are seeing is that members are actually asking us, can you start giving us rewards for sleeping better? Because wearable devices do monitor, and people are far more aware of sleep now, thanks to our wearable devices, which is a gift, even though it's another device and we have to charge it and worry about it and all these things. But our devices are full of rich information, and you must use them accordingly. So what's good for you, and so what are your goals? Like, what do you want? So you've decided you want a slow morning, you want to relax and just be okay and happy in the world. And you've got your story from 3 years ago. You're taking care of your stress. Okay, start with, I mean, we can start with food and with all of these other things,
of course.
but sleep cannot be ignored.
Yeah.
So I've committed now to 7 hours.
That's amazing.
And that was hard. It's like 7 hours. I mean,
But
20-year-old
it starts
me,
off
it starts off like, but 20-year-old me would be like, 7 hours? Is that our,
time?
what happened to
I
us?
could be doing something. You know?
No, the 20-year-old me was like, is that all we get?
We know the amount of hours that we are aiming for, 7, 8, 9, 9 hours. Jeez. But sleep hygiene, I see, especially women, that you'll be doing things, you'll be on your phone, you're on your device, and then you're thinking when you go to bed, you're just going to fall asleep right away. Chances are no. So maybe taking that like time to get yourself to bed or tuck yourself in, take a quick shower, dim the room where you're going to be sleeping. Even when you're going to be, I always say, let's say you are working late into the night, you're sleeping at 12 or 1 a.m. If from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m., those 5 hours, obviously we want more than 5 hours, but if those 5 hours are good quality 5 hours, it makes a huge difference. It's not ideal, but it makes a huge difference. That's where then sleep hygiene comes in, making sure the room, taking out the devices. You're done now with work. Leave the devices that on the other room, and you can make your alarm as loud as possible if you can. Or you can even buy those alarms that are not necessarily linked to your phone or whatever, or your wearable can help you as well. But that makes a huge difference.
Because sleep leads to fatigue. Fatigue for me, and I don't know, I know I'm not paying you, but let me get a little consult.
I mean,
Sleep, fatigue, cravings. I've seen that I have specific cravings when I'm tired. And literally getting that alarm bell go off has helped me so much around recognizing I'm not hungry. I actually don't want to eat that. It is because I need to go and take a nap.
100%.
Talk a little bit about that before we get to the end of the conversation.
There are certain neurotransmitters that if you are sleep deprived, they will go sort of higher, like in your bloodstream, and that pushes us to want to eat more higher carbohydrate rich foods. And that's where we say whether it's sugary foods or like foods that are high in added sugar, we are craving something, and it's because your body is signaling that I am lacking the calm zen serotonin type of a neurotransmitter, and carbohydrates are a precursor of that. But when we sleep, we naturally generate those calm neurotransmitters. So that's why the longer you sleep, good quality, quantity and quality, that's where you can then say, you get into a diet and whatever healthy way of eating, and you can follow it. Now, here's another pressure. Because we want to follow restrictive diets, the frustration that comes with trying to follow a diet that whoever online has said, no treats, no sweets, no this, no this. You are tired because you're sleep deprived. All you want to eat are those foods. Then you feel like a loser because you are not able to stop cravings. So definitely that cycle that you have sort of noted, Nomndeni, is a true scientific thing. Lack of sleep increases our cravings because our body is responding to a need of the calm sort of neurotransmitters like serotonin, and it becomes this vicious cycle. So to break the cycle, we don't say, oh, just eat veggies, eat more veggies. No, sleep. Sleep, get enough a number, and that is where I start when a person is improving their way of life, and obviously they've come to me as a dietitian. One of my daily must-win battles on top is let's improve your sleep first, then move your body more before I can start. Because most of the time we know what foods are full of nutrients, we know that, but it's the doing part. So that's where I guess also incentives, because if I've said try to aim for 6 hours of sleep, and a wearable or some form of a device is actually tracking their sleep, they're able to say, oh, I got 6 hours, oh, there's a reward. So yeah,
I could have this conversation forever because I feel like I should be like the avatar and prototype of what is wrong, how do we fix it, let's talk about it, because all the things that have gone wrong at some point. And it is such a privilege to be able to share this information with our community, because I know that information and knowledge makes people get to a better place. So finally, in closing, advice that you would give women who are on a health journey. It's not easy. We fall off. But I hope today, with what we've shared, we've given them just one thing that they can fix. I really believe in the power of incremental growth, and not the idea that we'll fix everything over a very short period. But you can learn one thing, you can take it with you, and that can then lead you to the next thing. For yourselves, in the positions that you sit, looking at all this data, meeting all these women, what advice would you give anyone who is starting out on a health journey or who is currently on one and they just need motivation to keep going?
Firstly, I would be so clear that there is hope. I think, with everything that's out there and this, and you saying that you've done everything, if there's been something that could go wrong, you've been there and you've done it. I think that's a woman thing. I think it's like, we all have this kind of experience. No matter where you are, whoever you are, your body is so forgiving. This technology is the most important and the most magnificent technology that we have. Not even the phone, Steve Jobs. Can you believe it? This is the most incredible technology. And wherever you are, you can improve. So just know that. And to anybody listening who's like, she doesn't know about how bad it is for me, you don't know my story. I know how bad it can get. There is always hope. So wherever you are, start. And just start with one habit at a time. Nothing too big. Don't go too like, I'm going to change. I'm going to do intermittent fasting. And then I'm going to do a water fast on Saturday. And then I'm going to meditate 40 minutes every single night. And then I'm going to do this. I've also done that one. And that's very disappointing and disheartening. Just one habit. Start with a glass of water every day. That's it. And prove to yourself. So I know there's hope, and I know I can change.
I love that.
Yeah, I fully agree with that as well. The human body is a machine, and it's forgiving. So start small. That's for all the women out there. Just start small. Start where you are, with what you have. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for the first of the month. Just start today. Just think, oh, did I drink water today? Just go grab a glass of water, drink water. And for your next meal, half of the plate, let that be veggies. Look at your plate. The colors must be there, because with every different color in our plate, we get different nutrients. Remember the 7 colors? Do you know in South Africa there's something called 7 colors? You don't know about it? Oh, we need to.
Another moment to multiply.
Yes.
Consult me.
So if your plate has multiple colors, multiple nutrients that are there. So, and if you do have a cupcake, it doesn't mean it cancels out the salad nutrients you've just had. No,
Please repeat that.
No, if
you can have one cupcake.
You can have a cupcake, and it doesn't cancel out that for lunch you had a salad. And sometimes I see that women be like, oh, I had a salad, then I had a cupcake, or maybe a donut, and there's a box of 6. And the person is standing there like, they're fine, and like, might as well, and they go for all 6. It doesn't cancel the salad you've just had. Sleep as well, and say, okay, obviously if we have got a bit of planning happening, you know how busy your week is going to get, then you say, okay, because it's getting busy, my week is busy. Okay, I'm going to prioritize sleep here and sleep there. Some days you might sleep at 11, some days you might sleep at 1. But what time are you waking up in the morning? If you don't have to have very early meetings, try to do that so that you can, catch up on some sleep. Movement as well. It doesn't have to be expensive. I mean, who doesn't love a posh Pilates
Yes,
club or
yes,
class?
yes.
But don't say I don't have money, so I will wait until I get a bonus in whatever month. Just taking a walk around your complex. I know it can be unsafe for women in South Africa, but try in your little complex. In my complex, the walkabout is about 600 meters, 500, 600 meters. When I feel unsafe, if I don't have anybody to go with outside, if I want to walk, I just do 10 laps around that.
Yeah.
Be on my phone, be listening to a podcast, be actually recording some of the ideas that I have, my own journaling or whatever. The next thing, 10 laps, I'm like, oh, I've done 10. Oh, okay. Then I move on with my day. And you might think, oh, obviously, Mbali, you can go and do whatever gym. No. Sometimes, if not most of the time, for me, it's just that. And I feel, and again, what we were saying, that leading a more active lifestyle in general doesn't have to be you're doing one thing and then for the rest of the day we are sitting down. Let's move up the stairs and be active. Yeah. So start small, start where you are and start with what you have. And then you build from there slowly. Yeah.
Maria, Mbali, thank you so much for this rich conversation. I can tell you for free, the work I get to do gives me free consults because I feel like I've learned so much today just from everything that has been shared. And the most powerful takeaway is actually what we're discussing now, that everything has to start somewhere. I think people get overwhelmed with the idea of what the final results look like, but really the change happens in the journey. So thank you so much for your time. Really excited for everyone to let us know what it is that they've learned from this conversation and even ask questions maybe for the next conversation so that we can answer those questions when we have another chance to converge and meet again. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.